Welcome to Mayoral Candidates 2021. Now, this is a special show, brought to you by My City Speaks to Me, focusing on individuals running to be the next mayor of the city of Calgary. And we're doing this because it is your responsibility and it's our responsibility to get involved. And it's an honor for me to have a mayor candidate here today, Brad Field. How are you, Brad?
Pleasure. Very good. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you so much for taking time to be on this show. I know you're very busy and election is coming October 18. So we're going to go straight to the point so that we want people to connect with the candidate one by one, get to know them, their plans, their visions, their economic ideas for Calgary. Now, the first question I'm going to ask you is, why should citizens get involved in this election?
Well, it's about getting involved to shape the future of Calgary. Right? I mean, we've got this opportunity of democratic society where you have a voice and you have an opportunity to provide that voice to shape the future of Calgary. For me, getting into the political arena, I'm a passionate Calgarian. I've been in Calgary for nearly 5 decades. And for me, I wanted to make a difference. And so as a citizen, whether you're running for public office or you're voting, it's your opportunity to express your views, provide your own ideas, and shape the future of Calgary. So it's extremely important, in my opinion, to get out and vote. And Calgary traditionally has a little bit of a lower voter turnout, so we want to encourage everybody, regardless of who you're voting for, to get out and vote. Exercise that right, because it's important.
That's what we're doing. What we're doing to just create that awareness for every individual, not to fold their hands, but to get out, get involved, and participate. Yeah. Now, by profession, I'm a multimedia, creative person, artist, musicians, and all of that. And we're just barely, out of COVID. Mm-hmm. There's still some major challenges around COVID. And 6 months back, let's flip back to 6 months, we are all locked down. We're in lockdown. Everything was like on hold. But one particular industry, the creative industry, kept Canadians, kept Albertans and Calgarians alive. For example, they were doing book clubs online. They were playing music. They were doing poetry recital. They were curating art exhibitions online. In other words, artists kept our mental ability alive. So the first question is, what is your vision about art and cultural landscape of the city of Calgary?
Well, it's key. It's about quality of life for everybody. And you don't have to be an artist to appreciate the return on investment investing in arts and culture. You don't have to go to the ballet to understand that there's a return on investment. And I don't mean financially. It's about quality of life, that social return on investment. So it's, I look forward to a vibrant Calgary, where you have pop-up music festivals or arts displays. And it's an opportunity to get away from our day-to-day life of working, earning a living, providing food and shelter for our families. It's a way to break free and enjoy the city of Calgary, enjoy different cultures, right? You talked about earlier about immigrating to Calgary and what you brought. And, for me, that's what it's about, engaging, taking the opportunity to get to know you, you get to know me, we bring different things to the table, different discussions points, and arts is a big part of that, right? So for me, looking 10, 20, 30 years down the road, we want to have that vibrant arts and culture community, not just in the ballet and the opera and theater and so forth, but also that street art and engagement, that low-cost art, where you're out on Stephen Avenue Mall and you can look at someone's artwork or listen to their music and so forth. So it's extremely important. It's about being a destination city too as well. What's going to attract people to come to Calgary? Not only keep the people that live in Calgary enthusiastic and excited about the city of Calgary, but what's also going to attract people from around the globe to come to Calgary and say, well, arts and culture, right? So it's extremely important about the future of Calgary for sure.
That's amazing. Now, while you're talking, you said something about low-cost arts, and that leads me to the next question. How can you make culture more affordable for newcomer artists or the public in general?
Right. Yeah, so for me, it's about removing barriers. And we talk about removing barriers in doing business with the city of Calgary, whether you're building a home, a new building, or opening up a new business, removing the barriers or removing the roadblocks that get in the way. So when it comes to arts and culture, we talk about licensing and permit and so forth. Let's remove all that stuff. Let's get to a culture of saying yes instead of a culture of saying no. We tend to say no first at the city of Calgary. Let's change that into a yes. And how can we support the local arts community to make it easier for them to display their art, pop-up music festivals, whatever it takes, right, to make it an easier place to do arts and culture.
That's amazing. I love the word, let's say yes, more often than say no.
Right.
And I think Calgary needs that. The next question is about issues facing Calgary. Now, we know that the city is facing challenging times even before the pandemic, and I want to know, in your opinion, about the current situation and the future of Calgary. So the question is, identify 3 major issues the city is facing right now, and how do you intend to solve them if elected?
Yeah, so we've got lots of issues. We've got economic issues, we've got cultural issues, but for me, leadership. It starts with leadership. First and foremost, we've got to have that collaborative, positive leadership, and that's where we've been lacking a lot over the last 4 or 5 years. Is having, and not just the mayor's chair. I'm talking leadership in general. Whether it's through city council, city administration, the mayor's chair. We want to get back that positive, can-do attitude, and so set the tone early. When I'm elected as mayor in the fall, I'll set the tone very early of respect for each other in city council chambers, respecting to the citizens of Calgary, making sure that citizens have a voice. So strong collaborative leadership, first and foremost. Economic recovery. We have to create that environment in the city of Calgary where jobs and businesses can flourish again. And we've gone through challenging times, as you said, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, COVID, we're on the back end of COVID. We're hopefully coming out of that, but we got to get that environment where jobs and businesses can flourish again. Because when you look at, I always equate everything to the necessities of life, food and shelter. It's very hard to have any other conversation when you don't have food and shelter.
It's essential.
Right, so when we're talking about arts and culture, it's a great conversation. When we're talking about building infrastructure, the future of Calgary, it's really hard to have any conversation if you're worried about where you're living tonight, where you're gonna go to bed tonight, or how are you going to feed your family tonight. So if we can create that environment where the business community can flourish and jobs can be plentiful in the city of Calgary, then it's much easier to have other conversations about the social issues and arts and culture and infrastructure projects. So no question we have to do that. And then the third thing, services for the city of Calgary. I believe we have great services in the city of Calgary, whether it's garbage collection, parks and recreation, amenities here in the city of Calgary. The challenge is right now the value. What we pay for those services through property taxes and user fees, that's where we've got some challenges. So for us, I'm looking at what we call priority-based budgeting, which allows us to look at things differently. Right now at the city, we base everything on next year's budget based on what we spent last year, and we just add on. Priority-based budgeting is we have a certain pot of money. We, through public engagement, asking the citizens of Calgary what's priority for them, and we prioritize from top to bottom. And when the money runs out, unfortunately, the items that are at the bottom that didn't get prioritized higher, we just don't do. So we have a pot of money, rather than going back to the citizens and reaching into their pockets for more tax money, more revenue, let's decide on what we have to spend and priority spend after that. So it's a different way of thinking, but it puts the onus on City Hall, Council, to make better decisions, but it gets the engagement of the public to prioritize. Because sometimes I wonder if the public even wants some of the stuff that we do in the city of Calgary. Have we actually asked the public, do you want X or do you want Y? And sometimes I think the question would be, no, why are we doing that? Why are we spending millions of dollars on certain issues when the public doesn't have any interest in it? So why not ask the public, get them involved in that discussion?
Get them in active participation on how they've been governed.
Yeah, no question. So those would be my top 3 things, but there's lots to be done. We're talking about Green Line expansion, we're talking about arts and entertainment, all that kind of stuff is important, but those would be my top 3 things to get the ball rolling for sure.
Now, talking in terms of getting the community and participating and having a say in how they've been governed, the next question is about making Calgary more inclusive. How will you make Calgary a more inclusive society?
Right. Yeah, so it's having all the stakeholders. We have to create a society, Calgary, where all Calgarians are valued and all their opinions are valued, their points of view. You know, again, talking back to your immigrating to Calgary and what you brought to this community, wouldn't it be nice if we had people like you engaged right from the get-go, have all citizens at the table, discussions what's important in their community, in their cultural background, to make Calgary a better place. So when it comes to job postings, for instance, at the City of Calgary, when we post for a new hire, are we advertising in all languages? Are we advertising in different medias, right? Because it's not just about the Calgary Herald or the Calgary Sun. Are we out in all publications throughout the cultural sector in the City of Calgary? So there's a lot of work we can do. I think we do a good job, but there's lots of room for improvement. But I'm excited about working with all communities, all cultures to make Calgary a better place.
That's amazing. Yeah. Now, one major question that has been going on in the minds of a lot of folks around that I've listened to, that I've echoed is, what is the future of downtown? What are your plans for downtown future? Yeah,
there's no question we've got some challenges. We've got overabundance of office space in the downtown core. They're talking about 6 million square feet. We're overbuilt by 6 million square feet. So the current program where we've injected $200 million in revitalization of downtown, and it's a part of a $1.1 billion commitment over 10 years. The challenge I have with it, we're throwing a little bit of money at it, and I think we have to complete the whole conversation about how do we bring people back into the downtown core. How do we get people living in the downtown core, working in the downtown core, going to school in the downtown core. So for me, yes, money's important. Reusing or reallocating office space, changing into affordable housing, post-secondary education, housing, allow startup companies to open up in those cheaper office spaces, but getting people back in the downtown core. Like, I've had this idea, we've talked about it before, where I would love to see our younger generation live in the downtown core, go to school in the downtown core, and do their co-op programs, internships, and so forth, all in the downtown core. One, it brings population back into the downtown core. It revitalizes small business in the downtown core, but it creates a narrative where our next generation, our kids, our grandkids, our great-grandkids have a reason to stay here in Calgary. But that goes hand in hand with arts and culture, that vibrancy. You know, so great, we can supply a job, create education in the downtown core, but what also is important to the next generation, because that's who I'm talking to on a regular basis, is they want a vibrant downtown, and that's arts and culture, that's entertainment, that's e-scooters. It's the whole package of why they want to stay in the downtown core.
That is amazing. Now, talking about next generation, what is your plan to keep our youth productively engaged in the city and raise opportunities available for them in securing jobs, affordable hours, entertainment, and all?
Well, it dovetails just right into what we were just talking about. It's engaging with that next generation. So 15, 20 minutes after we're done here, I'm meeting with, I think, 20 to 30 high school students here in the City of Calgary at Princess Island Park. We're gonna have a discussion about the next generation, what's important to them. So we've talked about getting all stakeholders at the table, because for me at my age, I'm here because of my kids, my grandkids, my next grandkids, great-grandkids. So for me, if we're gonna talk about the future, why aren't we engaging with the future generation, right? Who's gonna be here 10, 20, 30 years from now. So having that commitment, we've also talked about creating YYC 2030 youth commitment. So what we want to do is have a committee of young professionals, next generation, between the ages of 20 and 30, that will have a direct connection to the mayor's office, a direct pipeline, direct conduit, where they can communicate direct with the mayor's office about what's important to them. So people just want to be heard. People want to know that they're being listened to and that we're engaging in conversation and actually listening to their wants and needs. So it's not just about the next generation or the youth, it's about all generations. But if we're talking about the youth, they have to have a reason. You know, we have to provide a job. We have to have meaningful employment for these next generations coming out of post-secondary or high school, and we have to give them a vibrant downtown Calgary. So we want to have them a part of that discussion right from the start.
That's amazing. Now, it said all work and no play make Jack's a dull boy. How do you relax? What do you do for fun?
You know, for me, it's a lot of work lately, so not a whole lot of fun, but when I go for relaxation, I like hanging out with my best friends. You know, whether it's on the golf course, you know, going for a hike or walk with my family, I'm just all about spending time with family and friends. You know, that's where I kind of down. You know, and I love watching movies. You know, if everything's calm Friday night and I've got nothing going on, you know, my wife Cheryl and I we'll go online and get a movie or something like that, watch a movie, pop some popcorn and relax that way. So yeah, it's nice.
That's amazing. Now, let's get we're coming to the end of this interview, because I want it to be brief so that people can get to know and see in just one stretch.
Yeah.
At the end of your term in office, if elected, what do you hope to have accomplished?
Well, lots. Confidence. I think, first and foremost, I want to have the confidence. I want to see Calgarians confident in. We, for decades in the city of Calgary, have had that stand tall, proud walk of confidence. We don't have that right now. We have it in us, but we don't have it right now. We're not showing it. So I would love to feel, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that people are very proud of the city of Calgary. We've given that next generation a reason to be excited about staying in Calgary, building a career in Calgary, building their own family in the city of Calgary. Will we have built the Green Line? Yes. Will we have built the event center, Arts Commons expansion? All that great stuff, but underlying confidence. I just want to feel confident. I want Calgarians to feel confident in their leadership. They want to be proud of the city that we've built, because we have a real opportunity here. We've been through crisis over the last 5-6 years, and coming out of COVID, and through crisis we have great opportunity. I'm so excited to lead this city into the future, and talking about the next generation and what's in store for them. So we have an opportunity to make significant change in how we operate the city of Calgary, and I look forward to being a part of that change, bringing my collaborative style of leadership, and we have a real opportunity here. So thanks again for having me, and I look forward to connecting with everybody. You can go to my website, votebradfield.ca. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.
And then you can connect with him, and then you can make your decision on who to vote for when the election comes on October 18. From me and my crew, my city speaks to me. Bye for now.